when you think about Hell's Angels, a couple names come up. We hear Sonny Barger and we hear George Christie. These are the two names that. Of course, there's other names. I don't want to say there isn't.
The club was built on a foundation of many people's input, but that's a fair assessment. Sonny Barger was my senior. One of my greatest memories was when he came back from prison and I met him. I had been in the club. I was kind of a rising political input in the club, kind of creating my own base. And I went to Oakland on some unrelated business. One of our members that was a very strong member in Ventura, Irish O'Farrell, wanted to transfer to Oakland because Sonny wanted him up there. And ultimately, he took Sonny's place as a leader when Sonny came down with cancer. But after the end of the conversation, Russell Bea, another Oakland heavyweight, said to me, "There's someone up the street that wants to talk to you. He'd like to meet you." And I knew it was Sonny. And it's like meeting a football star or a boxing star. We went down to Sonny's house, rode our bikes down there. He came out and greeted us, and I spent several hours in his house talking. It was an incredible experience for me.
This is the first time you met him?
This is the first time I met him. I knew about him, long before I met him. I knew about him when I was in high school.
What year is this? This is
78.
78, first time you met him.
First time I met him in person. Maybe, no, actually it's probably 77. And I've been hearing about him since the mid-'60s, especially after Hunter Thompson wrote that book, Hell's Angels. I felt like I knew him.
How'd you get the book? Were you in your teens when you read the book?
I was in my teens. I was always a motorcycle enthusiast. Always wanted to be an outlaw. I kind of identified with the outlaw
Always
crowd.
wanted to be an outlaw.
Always wanted to be an outlaw. Not a criminal,
An outlaw.
And there's a distinct difference, and people get the outlaw and the criminal confused. And I had my first experience in the mid-'50s. I was with my father, and we hear this noise up the street, and I look, and it's this guy coming on a chopped Harley, has a cut-off vest on, a complete outlaw, stops at the stop sign, and when he took off from that stop sign, I metaphorically jumped on the back of that bike, and I knew someday I would be like that man. And, it took me 10 years to get there, but ultimately I got a bike and started hanging out with as an independent with the Question Mark Motorcycle Club. It was a club associated with the Hells Angels.
It was a club associated with Hells Angels.
And then I hung out with the Saint Slaves, another club. If you read Hunter Thompson's book, he really talks about the Saint Slaves a lot in that book, because the Hells Angels actually were kind of impressed with the Saint Slaves. They were kind of a unique club in San Fernando Valley, and they were kind of the sultans of San Fernando Valley, if you will.
Now, what did your dad do for your dad to almost introduce you to this? What did he do for you?
Indirectly. Well, he was all, I started talking about motorcycles after that, and he was always trying to play it down. Unbeknownst to me, until I got older, my grandmother, his mother, told me he had a motorcycle, and she had a standing offer of $500 to anybody that pushed it off the Ventura Pier. It was kind of a inside family joke, and I don't think she ever thought anybody would take her up on it, but she wanted to show that she didn't think it was appropriate for him to ride a motorcycle, and for some reason he didn't want me to do it, but I did.
Was he also an outlaw or no?
No, he was a former CB, came World War II veteran, as my mom was. My dad was a CB, my mother was a Marine, both veterans of World War II, and that was the birth of the outlaw bikers in the United States and perhaps the world. It was exclusive to the United States, and now it's a worldwide phenomenon. There's outlaw motorcycle clubs everywhere. I don't think there's a continent in the world that doesn't have some 1% motorcycle club, whether it be Hells Angels, Banditos, Outlaws, Mongols, whatever it may be.
What year was it that the whole thing got started? Is there
1948. I think
1948.
I consider that the kickoff date. And the guys on the East go, well, it started back here, and the guys on the West Coast, kind of a friendly rivalry. For me, it started in Hollister in 1948. There was a motorcycle event up there. The AMA, American Motorcycle Association, was hosting hill climbs and various races in the little town of Hollister. And the Pissed Off Bastards, that's the name of a bike club.
Literally called Pissed Off
Pissed
Bastards.
Off Bastards.
Can you pull that up, Rob?
The Pooh Bobs is what they went by.
Pooh Bobs.
The Pooh Bobs. The Galloping Goose, the 13 Rebels, the Booze Fighters.
Great names, by the way.
Yeah, these are all veterans. These are guys that came back from World War II, from the European and the Pacific theaters, most likely suffering from undiagnosed PTSD, whatever, and they felt displaced. They came home, their life had moved on, probably lost their wives, lost a lot of friends overseas, and they came back and they formed these little motorcycle groups. And the American Motorcycle Association that weekend labeled them the 1% that ruin it for us wholesome riders. And those individuals at that time embraced that title. And, the rest is kind of history. We became the 1%ers. And, ultimately, 15 years later, I became part of that.
Pissed Off Bastards of Bloomington. Is that correct that it says it started in Riverside?
Yes.
And San Bernardino?
Yes.
Okay, so I know Riverside. I know San Bernardino. What else, if we were to talk about the East Coast, West Coast, what's East Coast, what's West Coast?
West Coast is pretty much Northern and Southern California. And, it's interesting, and I'll get on to the East Coast, but in the West Coast, there was a tremendous rivalry between all the bikers, Hells Angels, what other clubs there were in Northern California, the Bay Area specifically, and then the Southern California. There was this unwritten rivalry. The East Coast has a similar story. Detroit, Chicago, these were where the Outlaws started. That was kind of our biggest rivalry. We had a war with them that still goes on today. I'm no longer a member, but the two clubs still fight. And the ironic thing is, I realized this morning when I was here, this is Broward County. That's where the war started.
Stop it.
They killed Whiskey George and Riverboat. Whiskey George and Riverboat went to the Outlaws clubhouse on an invite. They were told by Sandy Alexander, a very powerful Hells Angel from New York City, don't go to their clubhouse. And they went there, and they were executed and thrown in some rock quarry around here.
Here in
Broward County. Yes. The order came down from Jim Nolan, who was the leader of Outlaws in Florida at the time. And ultimately, he went to prison for 50 years for that murder. You look up Jim Nolan, he just was released recently. And I know him, he knows me. We've talked Big Jim Nolan.
He's the one that killed Whiskey.
Well, he made the order.
He ordered it.
Yeah.
And how big of a player was Jim at the time?
The biggest.
He was even bigger than Sonny?
Oh, yeah. Well, for the Outlaws, that's two separate clubs.
Got it.
The Hells Angels and for the Outlaws, he was what Sonny Barger was
for the Outlaws.
For the Outlaws.
Got it. But when you think about biker gangs, you hear the main name you hear is
Sonny
Hells
Barger.
Angels, and you hear Mongols.
Mongols.
Of course, you got some of the other guys, but
I think because the Mongols have, and I mean this with all due respect, have forced their name down the throats of everybody. I mean, they I think they had some leadership problems initially in the 70s and the 80s. I think that they weren't prepared. They brought a challenge to us, and the Hells Angels rose to that occasion. I mean, if you look, the frame-up motorcycle shop was a tire taken in there to have worked on by a Hells Angel member. He was a prospected member at the time, and there was an explosive device. The tire was filled with dynamite. The valve stem actually was a pressure relief trigger. And when they took the valve stem out, the tire exploded, killed a Mongol, and it killed his 15-year-old cousin. Just weeks before that, Redbeard and Jingles, both Mongol officers, were killed by a gentleman who went to prison for it, Guy Castiglione, out of San Diego. So by the end of '77, the war was just full on with the Hells Angels and the Mongols.
For you, so going back to '68, you know about it, you read the books, you know the stories, you're an outlaw, not a criminal. And then are you looking at this saying, man, I cannot believe I'm meeting Sonny in '77. Are you already in Hells Angels?
I am a Hells Angel member, yes.
So you're a member.
I'm an official member, and I may have been vice president of Los Angeles at the time. And a few months after that, old man John, who was my mentor, and turned the club over to me. He told me, his exact words were, "This is a young man's game."
This is in Ventura.
This is in Los Angeles.
Los Angeles. So you're not Ventura yet to be the president.
He says, "I'm giving this to you."
Okay.
He goes,
and we're in LA. What part of LA?
Glendale.
Glendale. Literally, you're living in Glendale.
Glendale. Our club, the Hells Angel clubhouse, was in Glendale. The Mongols shop, the frame-up, was in Glendale, I believe. Not real close to the Hells Angels clubhouse, but near. And that's kind of where the war kicked off, in San Diego and in Glendale.
When we set out to create a shoe that blends comfort, function, and luxury, we had the choice to make it fast. We had the choice to make it cheap. We chose neither. Instead, we chose Tuscany, Italy. We chose true Italian craftsmanship, each pair touched by 50 skilled hands. We chose patience, spending 2 years perfecting every detail, and we chose the finest quality at every step. Introducing the Future Looks Bright collection. Not rushed, not disposable, not ordinary. Rather, intentional, luxurious, timeless. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.